Chapter 11. Power Overwhelming. Golden spears thrusted out of the lights, stabbing into more warlocks than not. While most had their full attention focused solely on the ritual, there were those that were beyond the level of the novice and never let their guard down. There were those that always had magical protections that allowed them to evade as well. Most, however, neither dodged nor deflected the holy attack. The light drove through their skulls, piercing swiftly. Their eyes were wide with shock and surprise. Pain was not registered. Their confusion was evident on their unblinking expressions. Blood trickled out of every orifice, and the massive wound at the top had blood and brain matter oozing out. Minges gushed their jelly slithering down their face. One person continued to chant. Their words went from proper pronunciation to mild mistakes in articulation to a cascade of malformed, incomprehensible gibberish. The spears that thrusted out above the elders vaporized prior to making contact. The 5 most powerful warlocks that represented the vile gods did not cease their chanting. If anything, the deaths of the warlocks around the auditorium were being fueled into the crystal. "We're under attack!" Someone screamed. The massive stone guardians crumbled from good magic before they could even move to perform their duties. Portals opened throughout the room, out-flooded the trespassers, Lazir leading the charge. With the exception of the elders, the remaining warlocks ceased their chanting. They jumped into action, fighting the invaders. Guns fired, swords swung, and spells were thrown in every direction. Thyme looked around. The sight was all too familiar. He has seen this once before, when he was a child, that night his parents were killed. Enoch Bowen stopped chanting. "The moment we release, this power will be vulnerable." "Keep chanting," Simon Orn shouted at him. "Du Vaner!" Keziah Mason screamed her retort. "We have to release the crystal. Its power is enough to kill every last fairy," Baron Ferenzi shouted. "Du Vaner!" Keziah repeated. "We'll die, idiots. We have to release it." "It's not finished yet." "Du Vaner!" "Fuck this. I'm using the power it has before they destroy it." "Time!" Rachael called out. She ran to her tied-up brother. She began to untie him. As she did so, she commented, "The golden spear did not attack you. That means you aren't evil. I knew you couldn't do it." "At least someone believes in me." As she finished unbinding him, she was stabbed from behind. "Die, fairy!" Harry declared triumphantly, then ran off to fight the others. Thyme dropped to his knees. "I'm so sorry, Rachael." She coughed up blood and half smiled. She was too wounded to speak. Her eyes closed. Enoch Bowen jumped to the crystal, breaking the ritual, ending everyone's protections. The other 4 elder warlocks were disintegrated by something too swift to make out. It flashed like lightning, moving from warlock to warlock, then stopped directly in front of Bowen. "You!" Enoch said. "I've always done your bidding. The power is finally in your grasp. I can seize it right now." Lazir, the half-angel, did not change his facial expression. He swung his sword, beheading Enoch Bowen in one swoop. The head flew, bouncing off of Thyme's chest and landing on top of Rachael. Thyme looked up to the crystal, seeing every warlock doing battle, and the ones that were not were moving to the crystal to claim its power. He took one last look at Rachael dead on the floor, then rushed with the others to the crystal. The magic of Gaia fried all that approached it. When the magic was focused on Thyme, nothing happened. Lazir rushed to him and swung his sword. The novice warlock ducked, avoiding it. As he continued to move forward, he looked back to Lazir. The half-angel winked. He returned his attention forward, only a few feet from his makeshift goal. "I have no idea what is going to happen when I get to it." Thyme placed his hand on the crystal. A bullet whizzed past his head, missing him, but striking the crystal. A spiderweb crack formed on it. Darkness spewed out like tangible vapors from the cracks. A second shot struck the crystal, making additional cracks, and current cracks widened. A third shot shattered it. A mass of dark magic swirled, bunched together where the crystal stood. The vapors weaved through the air, hurtling to Thyme. He saw a brief image where the magic was leaving from, an image of the 5 evil gods, Nyarathotep, Azothoth, Yogsothoth, Cthulhu, and a glaring Hastur. The black smoke entered Thyme's mouth, nose, ears, eyes, and consumed his soul. He felt it envelop his entire frame, a feeling of emptiness and being full. The evil within stirred. In his mind he heard voices barking commands and cries for help. As the mist still entered him, the fight outside of himself still raged. The only ones that stopped to look were Harry and Lazir. Both of them smiled. Thyme opened his eyes. He looked around. He saw the warlocks and paladins fighting. He saw for the first time their auras, their magic. He smelled in the air all of the magic being cast and was ever casted here in this room. He heard every detail in perfect clarity with his ears. Time for time froze. Everything and everyone was motionless. He felt the vibrations all around. Every detail, in every fashion, was exposed to the now most powerful warlock that has ever walked the earth. Time resumed its normal flow. Good magic buzzed through the air, shot from a good sorcerer. The magic dissipated into nothing next to Thyme. He stood up, looking around. Another reached him, swinging a mace. The mace melted without even making contact. Thyme waved his hand, and the attacker vanished. "You killed him! You're evil now!" one of the attackers shouted. Unbeknownst to everyone except Thyme and the one that just vanished, the previous attacker was alive and healthy. He was teleported away. However, as magic must have an evil consequence, the previous attacker was no longer able to cast magic. His magic was gone. Everyone had their full attention on Thyme. The invaders attacked him with everything they had. Bullets did nothing, swords melted, and magic fizzled just like before. Thyme walked over to his sister. He reached to her, picked her up, but the evil inside of him sparked from his fingertips and scarred her shoulder. He pulled back. "I have limitless power now. How can I save you with it?" His eyes narrowed in determination. "You will not die today." He pointed at his sister. The vile magic shot out, surrounding her, and entered her body. The wound closed, and life was restored. "Now go home, my sister." She vanished. Thyme turned his attention to everyone else. They had never stopped attacking him. "All of you go home!" Thyme braced himself and waved his arm. Magic shot out as a wave with his hand. It was unavoidable. The dark magic passed through his fellow warlocks with no effect. The paladins, though, it engulfed them, making them vanish just like the previous ones. Lazir knew better than to let it touch him. He disappeared on his own power prior to magic reaching him. Everyone was speechless. Harry rushed over to Thyme. But this is impossible." Thyme's eyes were literal black fires. He stared at Harry. "You stabbed my sister?" He pointed at Harry. "I can see our gods, all 5 of them. They constantly whisper and scream in my head. By Azothoth, you will pay." Harry backed away, trying to turn around only to be disintegrated by someone other than Thyme. He looked to see Rachael had done the deed. "What has happened, Rachael? Why wouldn't you let me kill him?" "If you think hard enough, you'll figure it out." Thyme looked at him. The half-demon looked different. White and black auras surrounded him. Rachael had more than one face. I could see her true form now. "You have 1,000 faces." Rachael placed a finger on his lips. "Shh, you'll ruin the surprise." He approached Thyme, wrapping an arm around the powerful warlock. Everything is exactly as I planned it. You planned this? You've been playing both sides? Raziel looked at the surviving warlocks. It's true, everyone. I knew those fairies would attack. I knew the elders would die. I even knew Thyme would be the one to gain this power all of you worked so hard for. He raised both of his hands to calm everyone down. Now all of you have one more part to play. Those others, their powers. They have been quelled by our now supreme leader here. Go to them and kill them all. Thyme raised a hand in protest. Except for his sister. She's off limits. The warlocks dispersed. Most walked away. Others teleported. After they left, which did not take long, Raziel turned to Thyme. Yes, I did plan this. Well, sort of. I honestly wanted Enoch Bowen to have the power, he said. I could see your true form. You've never told the truth once in your life. Fine. Even if I'm lying, you still have power, and in a way this works out better. Raziel's face lit with excitement. You're invincible, boy. Their magic can't even hurt you now. You're so powerful, you have actually dampened their magic. Now we will kill them with ease. Thyme sighed. Rachael woke up in her home. She had a headache, and her back, where she was stabbed while healed, still felt like a fresh wound. She moaned while placing a hand on her wound. When she stood up, she prepared herself for a healing spell to banish the pain. Her home felt strange. She looked around while still preparing to cast her spell. Her house felt foreboding. Why do I feel naked? She said to herself. She shook her head, rejecting the notion. She was still clothed. With a wave of her hand, she attempted to cast the spell. Gaia, heal me, she called out. No healing effect occurred. Instead, her home turned crimson. Her previous installed protection spells flared and went off. Fire gushed out of the walls, attempting to engulf her. Her mind was still quick, thus she barely evaded her own home's fire attacks. She let out a scream as the house emitted a sonic counterspell to undo her own magic she was attempting to cast. Additional protections went off, one that she was all too familiar with due to placing them there herself. She knew what was about to happen. She was always prepared for the evil warlocks to attack her in her own home. This place was a fortress against evil, and only a fool would attack one of her kind in their own home. The doors were the first to be sealed. Any evil force that would dare to invade her home would be trapped in here and suffocate to death. She saw the windows beginning to seal. She rushed to the nearest window and crashed through it just as the magical seal closed. She was on the ground, breathing heavily, looking back, staring at her death-trap home in wild confusion. What has happened? My magic cannot fail. From the outside, there was no visible difference from her home. On the inside, she knew that every trap was being sprung, and the insides were on fire, invisible to the outside eye. She looked at her hands, and at the various trinkets about her persons. Those trinkets felt different than before. Just today, prior to returning to her home, they have always emitted a comforting aura. Now they felt foul and stunk. Has my home been corrupted? My trinkets? What is going on? She stared at her hands and did not recognize her own flesh. It was hers, but her body felt like that of a stranger. What has happened? One of the good wizards said to the others. All 153 good-aligned wizards were back at their headquarters. Most stared at their hands in confusions, while others panicked, screaming about with their arms flailing. Lazir appeared in the middle of this group. Everyone listen to me. He rallied their attention. Your magic has been suppressed. This is only temporary. You must flee for your lives. The warlocks are coming to finish you off. I will do my best to hold them off, but even I cannot stop hundreds of warlocks. As if on cue, the windows burst open. The place had similar protections like the home of Rachael. The first warlock jumped into the burst window. As his body passed in, he was vaporized. Other warlocks were about to do the same, but refrained at the sight of their comrades' disintegration. Their eyes widened with surprise. The warlocks said nothing. They stood there, ready to attack, but did not move closer. They backed away, but did not retreat. "We are safe for now. Nobody leave this room," a good caster yelled at the others. Lazier heaved a sigh of relief and allowed his body to fall into a chair. "I was worried that our protections would fail. Rachel's brother is powerful enough to pierce them and still kill us. If he shows up, we are as good as dead." Outside, the warlocks murmured against themselves. "How long do we have before their magic returns?" asked one hooded, gray-haired warlock. "We have approximately 23 hours and 23 minutes, said a warlock wearing a pinstripe suit. He continued as if answering an unspoken question. "I am an expert at null magics. I can see their auras degrading." "Are you able to null their barrier?" asked a warlock with spider tattoos on his face. "No, but we can degrade it," replied the pinstriped warlock. "How do we do that?" asked the gray-haired one. "By making it expend itself." "What?" several warlocks said. A tattooed warlock understood. "Are you suggesting we throw ourselves into it? That's stupid. We would be doing them a favor." "Well, I calculate if half of us disintegrated via that barrier, it would diminish." The pinstripe warlock turned to his comrades. "Do we have any volunteers?" "That's fucking stupid," said the gray-haired warlock. "Well, Mr. Expert of Null Magics, does that barrier have any effect on non-magic?" asked the tattooed warlock. "No. Why would it? This is solely to prevent us from entering," answered the pinstripe warlock. The tattooed warlock smiled as he bent down to the ground, picking up a rock. Everyone gave him space, backing away. He stepped closer to the barrier, then launched the projectile. It passed harmlessly. The good wizards were watching intently, and when the rock was thrown, they moved out of the way, allowing it to land on the ground, evading everyone. "Ha! You missed!" announced a good wizard triumphantly. The tattooed warlock did not drop a smile. If anything, his glee widened. "They really are stupid, aren't they?" he whispered. About 20 warlocks hurried off without a word. End of chapter 11.